This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, see? Y'all good down there? Shoot. Y'all good down there? Go ahead.
I forgot to get my agenda.
All right, I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors to order. As always, let's start with the pledge and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. We do have a quorum. We need to adopt an agenda. Anybody have anything we need to add to the agenda this evening? Anything down there? Anybody down that way? What would you like to do with the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. As always, general public comment. General public comment. Jim?
Thank you. I'll come speak loudly. I'm Jim Smith from Brightwood. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. In reviewing the agenda for tonight's meeting, I was beyond overjoyed when I saw the application for Clay Jackson to serve on our board of our planning commission. This should make for an extremely short executive session tonight, as selecting Clay would be the quintessential no-brainer. He comes equipped with the knowledge of the role of the Board of Supervisors, the Planning Commission, and the institutional knowledge of both, as well as a keen awareness of the statutory conundrum in which medicine finds itself, as rights and responsibilities of the localities are being stripped away by the progressivity of the encroachments on our abilities of the localities to plan their growth. Consequently, the Board of Supervisors requires evidence and knowledge-based advice from the Planning Commission as a body and from its commissioners that you appoint. I'm not at all surprised that Clay's stepping up to continue his over 14 years of seamless service to this county. It speaks volumes to the quality of his character. Thank you very much, Clay.
Thank you, Jim. Other public comment? Other public comment? I am gonna need that notarized after the meeting. All right, let's move on. Constitutional officers, county departments, committees, and organizations. Ms. Warren, would you like to start?
Good evening. Finance side, we have an update on the fiscal year 25 audit. I talked to Mr. Foley with our audit firm today, and the draft audit will be out next week, and we will have a final by the end of December is the plan, and then we will have Mr. Foley come to present to the Board of Supervisors in January for FY 25 results. And we're hoping January 13th will be the meeting he can come to. If for some reason the final review doesn't get done in time, it would be the January 27th meeting. So that's the status of FY 25's audit. We are also obviously working on, in FY 26, closing period 5 November already. Hard to believe. Closed 5 periods in this fiscal year, and then also FY 27 budget planning, which we will talk about in a little bit on the budget calendar. That's all I have, unless the board has any questions.
Do we have any questions, Ms. Warren?
No, sir.
Ms. Warren, thank you. Mooney?
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Dawson and also the maintenance from the school for helping decorate this year for the Christmas lights. Without their help, we wouldn't have got it done this year. So I thank you for that. Second of all, yesterday we worked on a sewer line at the social service building. And we worked on it for 2 days to remove a clog out of there. We cameraed it, everything looks good. We also ran the sewer jet through there, so everything is ready to go and is operating again, so that they don't have to close their office or anything like that. The floor at the War Memorial Building is completed. It looks good. If you got a chance to go up there, take a look at it. They do very good work, and it's made a difference. The animal shelter, all the painting is completed down there now. That makes a difference too. She shouldn't have no problem whatsoever when it comes to her inspection there with anything concerning the building. So I think that's it, besides removing snow and ice.
Do you have any questions for Mooney, comments? The lights do, they look great, absolutely great, and make Madison look even better this time of year. Thank you, Mooney. Cheryl, tell us something from the town. Yeah.
Well, we don't really have anything, other than day-to-day stuff going on now. We ended up with our real estate deadline last Friday. And, besides working on stuff for the auditors and a few things, that we have in the works, working with some issues with the, zoning department here with our, town map and theirs. We're working on some issues with that, but other than that, it's just day-to-day.
All right, any questions for Cheryl in the town? Cheryl, thank you. Ashley, how's dispatch?
Good, how are you guys doing? So here are the stats for the calls for the month of November. 911 home phone calls received were 90. Wireless 911 calls received were 444. Administrative calls taken were 2,386. And administrative calls made was 1,082. Total calls through the center were 4,002. Percentage from the same time frame of last year is 121%, and year-to-date percentage is 91. So calls for service for the month, 1,118. Year-to-date calls for service, 12,281. Year-to-date percentage compared to last year is at 98%. As far as staffing goes, we still have an opening for a training coordinator and a communications officer. We're still advertising. We have an interview tomorrow. Hoping that goes well, fingers crossed. Assistant Director Shiflett and I, we completed a EVOC training. We were able to do that alongside animal control officers. Daryl with EMS was the instructor, did a great job. So we all got certified for that. Currently, we have a canned food drive going on for the whole month of December. Donations can be brought to the lobby. All the donations we receive will go to Mesa. They've let us know that condiments and kid-friendly breakfast items are what's needed most. So hopefully we can get as many donations as possible. And that's all I've got.
Do we have any questions for Ashley? I understood you all did some ride-alongs with, was it EMS?
EMS, yes.
How'd it go?
They loved it.
Great.
We've developed a really good working relationship with EMS. All the dispatchers that rode along loved it. They said they have a newfound respect for what they do, being able to see in person what they deal with on calls.
Good, good. That's great. That's great. All right, Sheriff, would you move up?
Good afternoon. A couple quick things. You have a copy of my report, so if you have any questions, let me know. I just want to do a shout out to the school system and VDOT the last couple of days, snowy days. They've been on top of things. I've been communicating with the superintendent, also with Jeff Garr, so they're on top of the snow and road conditions. After 20-plus years, we had Johnson's Flooring come in and completely redid our floors in our building, so you have to come out and take a look. They did an excellent job. We have one in school, hopefully that person graduates this Friday, but we have lost another person since our last meeting, so we're still one short. Any questions?
Do we have anything for the sheriff? Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Noah?
Good afternoon. For the month of November, we had 181 calls. I was proud to see 8 minutes was our average response time. Due to that, we really weren't able to help our surrounding counties with mutual aid, but we do our best when we can. No units available for a total of 4 hours, 33 minutes. We do have 2 full-time EMT basic vacancies. I've received multiple applications. We're going through the review process, and I hope to have that filled within the next 2 weeks. Also proud to report that the Virginia Office of EMS, every 2 years we have to have an agency inspection, making sure we're crossing the T's, dotting the I's, doing what we need to do, and did fine with that. So there was no corrections needed. Continuing to do standby events, and then at the very bottom is an update on where we are with our vehicle replacement. Medic 2 was involved in a crash. Thankfully, no injuries. That's being repaired now, should be done in the next couple weeks. And then the ambulance orders. So the ambulance 1 and 2, those are currently on order, and those are our most current projection completion times for you. Happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have anything for Noah? Noah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Greg? You doing the
Good
animal
evening.
shelter first, or?
No, she didn't give me any reports.
All right,
on
we'll
that.
do animal control now.
All right. So calls for service about the same. Handled in person was 41. Handled by phone was 92, and 10 after-hour emergency calls. As Ashley stated, we did take a EBOC training, which is the Emergency Vehicle Operator course. I did reach out to VDAX, and they were able to agree that this class was very important and went ahead and approved it for continuing credits for Ian and I. So thank you, Noah and Darrell, for that. We did attend a online training, Humane World for Animals on Donkeys. And monthly narrative, we renewed our dangerous dog registration with VDAX, so that's completed again for this year. And as of right now, we only have just the one that's registered in the county. That's it.
Any questions for Greg? All right, pass it to Bruce Bowman on Shenandoah Committee. Bruce,
Yeah.
how's the park doing?
All right, good.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I first wanted to say thanks to Clay for all he's done for Madison County, and glad to hear you're gonna be sticking around a while, I hope. I'd like to talk about the Blue Ridge Committee for Shenandoah National Park Relations that met last fall. We had 7 of the 8 counties represented, met in the Standardsville Town Hall. Judd Buchanan was there by Zoom, and we had Jim Ballard, and we invited John Mike Powell, that everybody knows, to come to the meeting too, and Chuck Jackson with the Piedmont Journal. So we were well covered from Madison County. Park Service people were on pins and needles, because this is right before the week before the government shut down. I never realized that how many vehicles enter the park on a daily basis, but they gave us some figures. Swift Run sees about 1,500 vehicles per day during the peak of the season, 2,500 at Rockfish Gap, and 7,000 on a peak weekend out of Front Royal. So during the shutdown, the Shenandoah National Park did not take up fees for entrance. They lost between $3.5 and $4 million during the shutdown when everybody was laid off. That's pretty substantial. The figure also came up, the park contributes about $175 million to local economies in 8 counties around the park, restaurants, hotels, and so forth. So I think it's a big advantage having the park, even though we do not have an entrance to the park. We can still take advantage of having the park up there. It's a big draw. The other thing that I'm sure everybody is aware of by now, that to enter the park, you have to get a digital pass. It's a cashless entrance system now. So you either can use your credit card at the entrance station, or you can buy a pass online. So eventually, they're going to have vendors out in the county. I looked up today online, and I did not see any from Madison County. I'm sorry? The Edlin store? So Donnie Weekly's getting some business up there for, I guess, Old Greg being the big draw. So let's see. They have a hiring freeze still in effect on the hiring of permanent staff. They've extended the Delaware North contract into 2026 and 2027. They're about $4 million worth of deferred maintenance on the Big Meadows Lodge, and that'll be like the kitchens in the back of the lodge, some of the infrastructure. That's about all that, Judd, do you have anything else? Judd was asking about whether the park can send down experts on some of our, like the Graves Mountain Lodge Apple Festival. They used to do that in Heritage Day, the first Saturday of April. So that was a good question, and I'm sure they're considering it. I think it'd be a good idea to see if we can get Tracy down here to visit with us, the new superintendent, Tracy Stakely. Anybody have a question
Do you have anything for Bruce?
from the park?
Bruce, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Jamie Wilkes.
Well, good afternoon, board members. I got my report here, but before I do that, I just want to acknowledge Dustin Dawson and Clay Jackson for your service, and it was great working with you guys. All right, on our board report, the DEQ, the permits issued, and the permit inspection report is included in there, along with the planning and zoning administrator's report. Just remind you again, the code cycle, the code update is in process. They're having hearings, and eventually it'll get adopted next year sometime. And this is one of the most exciting things. After many months and a great effort by our own IT staff, the citizen portal is now live. They can pay online finally. And we've been live for 2-3 weeks, and everything seems to be working fine. I've been checking with the treasurer and with our Tyler system, and it's all meshing together. And it was a lot of work, and I'll do it, Alan. I'm going to commend him because he put a lot of work into it. Without him, we'd still be spinning our thumbs with Tyler. We would not be live. But it's working out great, and it actually has an additional feature I forgot. There's a public records search on there. So, we can go in there, the public can go in there and look up a parcel and see, hey, there's permits issued and various other things on there. Staff updates, I'm gonna steal a little bit from Mr. Alan Nichols, but he just got word today he completed and passed all his exams for certified zoning administrator. So he's fully certified through VAZO. That's a big accomplishment.
Congratulations. We were worried.
And probably this time, next Friday, Stacy will be sitting for a permit tech exam, and Carl's working on his last commercial inspector exam. So these are all big things going on. This really works out great for the community. We got a lot of trained, highly educated people working in that office, and dedication and teamwork. I mean, that's a big thing in that office. I'm just giving you a quick update from last month. I was telling you about the NFIP was not reauthorized, but it has been sort of kind of they kicked it down the road till January 30th, and then we'll see what happens. And at the very bottom, the permits issued last month, 63, a lot of inspections, 345, and then only one new dwelling last month. But if you have any questions about anything?
Anybody?
I got one. So, Jamie, at the end of the day, it's going to be you, Carl, and Joe all trained up. Y'all can cover each other.
Sorta, kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, Carl's almost got all his commercials, so then he can do any of the commercial stuff. He already has a residential. Joe's primary function is E&S, but he
Sure.
does have residential buildings, so he covers some of that too as well. But there's 3 on the building code side doing
Yeah.
inspections, and Carl also has plan reviews. He reviews plans as well.
That's what I thought. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, we got a lot of
You got
coverage
a-
down there.
You got a lot of talent down there, a lot of dedicated staff.
Thank you.
What's your turnaround time right now on general building permits or inspections, I guess is a better way to put it?
I mean, if you call in for an inspection, at most, it's a day or two.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's about it.
That's pretty good. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Jamie, I was looking at your report and all the inspections that you've done, which seems to be quite a few. Does that actually reflect, does any of that reflect an uptick in the number of houses that are being built in the county or permits that are being requested?
Yes and no. I mean, since I've been here, I've noticed no change in inspections and the number of permits. Like last month, only 1 new dwelling, but the month before, I think it was 8 or 10 new dwellings. And then, a new house, that's probably about 10, 12 inspections at least throughout the whole process. So, I mean, and some of these inspections are the E&S inspections as well, falls under there too. But plumbing, electrical, mechanical, building, all that stuff. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
All right, anything else from Mr. Wilkes? Thank you, Jamie. Alan, how's IT?
Well, I can fix Tyler, but I can't fix a projector, apparently.
It's challenging.
The IT department would like to thank the building department as well for the constant stream of Tyler work that they send our way to keep us in business. Like Jamie said, resident access is fully released and online. Payments are coming through. Everything seems to be working just fine right now for Tyler. We do have an estimated delivery date of the processors for our server hardware refresh. Those are expected today. I've told Federico and Richard if they get them, please text me as soon as possible. So far, we don't have anything. We're working on going down our Magna 5 renewals. So everything that we pay them for, we're going line by line on those. This coming budget cycle, they have a hardware refresh plan because we have a lot of end-of-life materials that they probably need to be replaced next year. I'm going to try and get that done as cheaply and efficiently as possible. We are working to update all existing Tyler modules, which is Munis, ERP, all the good stuff that makes Tyler work essentially. We're slowly going through that. As many of the departments that use Tyler know, if you affect one part of Tyler, you can blow up the rest of it. So we're trying to take that as slow and piecemeal as possible so we can keep everyone working as effectively and efficiently as possible. And once we do get our server processors installed, we are preparing day one for a revitalization of the Laserfish project so we can hopefully get Laserfish out to the other employees that would like it. Our monthly ticket report is attached. The only other thing I would like to say is departments, please use the ticketing system if you can. It really does help us out a lot. We've noticed a precipitous drop in incoming tickets, so we do more than the tickets that are there, I promise you. But if everyone could please try to use the ticketing system, we would greatly appreciate that. Any questions?
We have any questions for Alan? Alan, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Tracy?
I echo what Mr. Wilkes said, Mr. Dawson, Mr. Jackson, but also as a group, having come to these meetings since the beginning of the century, the camaraderie you guys have and the way everybody gets along, even when you disagree, is very commendable because it has not been that way, and that's putting it mildly over the years. It's not always been that way, so thank you very much. I wanted to first, because I owe Bruce this, I should have told him about it earlier. We, the communities surrounding the park, did our own brochure because they can't promote themselves as much and can promote us as much. And even though we don't have a drive-in entry, we included ourselves in this little, so I'm gonna give this one to Bruce. I put some outside as well. It's been a long time coming, but this is a really good brochure that they only allow us to put so much information in our little piece, but it's mainly to guide everybody to our individual websites. So the parade went well. It was very, very cold. Thanks to pretty much everybody in the community, the sheriff's department, the fire department, Mr. Gordon, Mooney, Kurt, Heather with the extra decorations as well. Mr. Dawson, I didn't know you were involved in that part of putting up the decorations. It went really well. I think Mountain View Chapel brought the cookies and the hot cocoa and heaters that probably came from Renback Barn, but it was great. And we had content creators come in for the weekend who loved it. They were from DC, so it's totally different from anything they had seen. So I'm looking forward to seeing their content as well. But our little reel has gotten 9,000 views since Friday, so I thought that was pretty cool. But it went really well. We had our regional tourism committee meeting on December 4th in Culpeper, and a part of that was the community surrounding the park as well. We always send out grant opportunities, but we sent especially one out to farmers and anybody we knew via Constant Contact and personally as well. I've shared on the next page is our Blue Ridge Outdoors magazine digital ad. That ad has gotten at least 800. This was from last week, I guess, when I got it. No, November 17th. 812 likes on their digital. Closest to that since that time has been a place in Kentucky that they did for 400. So that's saying something. And some of their posts don't get any likes, so that was very cool to see too. And that one was the one that we set up prior to Jimmy passing, and it was mainly geared towards Grays Mountain Lodge, so that was a good one to have as well. And their paper copy and their print copies. What else? We've had site readiness discussions, we had an Economic Development Committee meeting, Preliminary Development Review Committee meeting. Rosie from the Central Virginia Partnership, or the Small Business Development Center, had her day at the office on December 2nd. That's where she'll come in and have businesses that want to talk one-on-one that didn't want to come to Charlottesville. She'll do that every quarter still. She'll do that next year as well. Looking at budget items, and of course, if you don't know, we support everybody's events and put them out every week, and that's on our Madison County Tourism page as well. I had a food council meeting yesterday. And I caught on Channel 29, John Rule's spot on livingcentralvirginia.org through the Central Virginia Partnership for Economic Development is still running, and it's a really good spot with him talking about positions that are available at Early Mountain and how you can have a great position, even though it's in a tasting room. They pay really well, so, and other opportunities there, just to give people that want to have workforce opportunities here. Monday, we have updates from the CEO and president of the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. We'll hear about the new administration transition, how that's going. I think that's mainly what I've got this time. I think that's it.
Anybody have any questions for Tracy? All right.
Tracy, thank you for reminding me. I should have mentioned this to the board, but we had the Economic Development Committee meeting just before Thanksgiving. That was the last one of the year. And we're preparing our year report and our strategic plan for next year. That will be presented to the Board of Supervisors sometime in mid to late January. There was a lot went on this year. There's a lot more going on next year. So anyway, thank you, Tracy. I slipped my mind, but that comes with age.
Anybody else? Thank you, Tracy. Alan?
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Work continues in the Planning and Zoning Department. Rough stuff first. We've got 9 open notice of violations going. We've got 4 of those have been escalated to the county attorney for action. We're hearing 2 of those on Thursday. Let's see, 4 special use permits, rezonings, ordinance amendments, things before the Planning Commission. We've got 2 pending applications now for special use permits, 1 for rezoning. I'm expecting an additional larger rezoning request here at the next cycle. And we've got 1 text amendment coming up soon. We've got 6 open subdivision applications. Bear in mind that these are mostly single lot, so nothing crazy. And I have 6 active site plans right now with a submission to be reviewed for RSA's expansion as well. So Board of Zoning Appeals has 2 cases scheduled for December, and we continue our efforts towards digital workflow.
Do you have any questions for Alan? All right, thank you, Alan. We're going to get a report from, oh, good Lord, the Planning Commission, Jim? There you go. All right, moving on. Consent agenda. We have minutes from, oh, excuse me. Yes, we have an irregular one. Going back to public comment. Mr. Ayler, you have some public comment? We'll bring you the microphone.
Hi, my name is, Um, I'm Ayler. I live on kind of Maple Drive, across from Cardinal Home Center. And I work at Cardinal too. I just kind of want to flag a safety issue that I've noticed on Route 29 with the signal at Maple Drive. Right now, there's really no way to safely cross that spot by foot or by bike. I don't have a car, so I rely on family to cross it. But the signal is kind of short right there, so it doesn't really allow time to pass over there. And then just with that and all the tractor trailers from Massillwood, it creates a lot of traffic right there. That kind of that space. So I didn't know if the county and VDOT if there were any solutions. I think that there's something that trips a bike there, or it trips a car, but not a bike, or some kind of flag or something like there that can help with that. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ayler. Corey, do you have any comments on this?
No, so thanks, Emmett, for coming in. The issue, Ms. Shepherd, when it's your turn to get up there. So Emmett lives across the road, and he works at Cardinal. And that intersection right there at the McDonald's and all has always had issues. I mean, you got issues with MWP, of course, the trucks coming in and out. But he was asking whether you have any thoughts on how you could make that intersection accessible to a pedestrian to get across, or time for a bicyclist to get across or something. So that was the emphasis. So Emmett, if you want to hang around, let's see. Ms. Shepherd is the VDOT engineer that's here. She'll be speaking very shortly.
Like 5 minutes.
Yeah, in 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Ayler. All right, back to the agenda. We do have a consent agenda. We've got minutes from 11/25/2025, and then 12/03/25, and then we've got supplemental appropriation number 17, which is a donation, and it's $6,023, and it's combined with a couple of them. What would y'all like to do with the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, Ms. Shepherd, please tell us about the VDOT's quarterly report.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I am Carrie Shepherd, the resident engineer for the Charlottesville VDOT residency, and I'm here to give the quarterly report. So on the first slide, not much has changed since the last time that I was here. I'll just note Pratt's, as you know, we had the public hearing. The next step is still design approval, and we are still on target for an add date of winter of 2027. Rural rustics, those are on pause at the moment since we're in the winter season, but like I said last time, Walker's Mill will be completed in the spring. As far as construction activities, we have the 707 Pine Hill Road Bridge Replacement Project. The final inspection on that project was last week, so they're expecting that project to be completed earlier than originally planned, so prior to December 23rd. So probably next week that project's going to be wrapped up. We also have Route 656, Courtney Hollow Lane over Polecat Branch, structural replacement. That project was started. We did the overnight closures. We expected completion in November. The road is open right now. The last thing that we have to do, though, is to pave it. So we're waiting on the weather to break before we can go out there and add the final asphalt. And then there's a couple punch list items outside of the roadway, won't affect travel, and then that project will be complete. We also have Route 607, Lillard's Ford Road. That's a pipe replacement over a stream. It has a detour in place. That project began on December 1st with an expected completion of December 5th. However, due to the weather, that's been pushed out, and we hope to have that project complete by December 12th. And last, we have Route 641 Weaver Hollow Road. That was a washout due to Hurricane Helene. We have installed the pipe, the head walls, the wing walls have been poured as well. The last thing that needs to be done is the concrete slab on top of the pipes. However, the road is open. So as soon as the weather allows us, we can pour that concrete slab. It will have to be closed for about a week to let that concrete cure, but then that project will be complete as well. And then to follow up on a couple of the traffic engineering items that we talked about at the last meeting, it was mentioned 638 Hebron Church Road. Was there any signage that we could put in place indicating a one-lane crossing? That is still under review at this time. I will follow back up when I have more information on that one. And then I did go back to our traffic engineering department about 29 and Shelby Road about the U-turns in the center. That review is complete. Our stance, or our traffic engineering stance, was that U-turns will continue to be allowed unless a crash pattern emerges from that movement. Since we have opened up the Shelby project, 2 crashes have occurred, both resulting from eastbound traffic pulling out and crashing into southbound through traffic. So no crashes at this time have been due to that U-turn movement. And according to just rules of the road, the traffic on Shelby has to stop at that stop sign and wait to go until all movements in the center are complete. So essentially the ones in the median and have the right of way over the right turns on Shelby. And that's all I have formally prepared, so I will take questions or any other issues that you'd like to share with me at this time.
Understand you may be down at the Swinging Bridge in February?
Oh, that's correct. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. So we have made a lot of progress. Right now we have one property, so we need 3 property owner agreements or right of entries to take the bridge down. We have one in hand. One is expected to be back in the next couple weeks. I had to mail it out. It was the new, the new owner for the kitchen property reached out to his daughter, and she has agreed to sign that right of entry. And then the Dixon property's also changed hands, so we have worked with that new property owner, and they are also going to sign the right of entry. So our goal is to line this up for February. We're expecting it to take about a week to get the bridge down, weather permitting. So, yep, that's finally making some progress.
All right. Yeah. No, we understand Felix Shapiro ended up getting the Dixon property.
Yes.
There you go.
So, yeah, I just want, so Ms. Shepherd, Mr. Ayler had reached out to a former land use engineer with VDOT. I guess it was not too long ago, but that land use engineer suggested that he reach out to the Board of Supervisors, and in turn, we would pass it along to you. So if you would, just let all of us know and Mr. Ayler know what's the process that VDOT will go through to evaluate his concern with that intersection.
So as I understand it, there's a need for pedestrian and bicycle allowances to cross 29 at that McDonald's
From
intersection.
Maple Drive, basically,
yeah.
or Oak Park Road, yes.
I will go back and have to work with the traffic engineering department. They're going to have to look at signal timings. And then it depends on what kind of treatment we're looking at to put in place. And as far as funding is what I'm getting at. Like if we were to put in, your traditional beacons that would count down, some sort of additional infrastructure, we'd have to look at that to try to find funding for that. But the first step will just be looking at the cycle times to see what we can allow for the pedestrian movements across.
Okay.
So we can evaluate that, and I can get back with you.
You'll have a couple different scenarios and options if they're available.
Potentially.
There you go.
Funding, depending on where we land, funding will just be the question.
Yes, ma'am. Got more?
No, that's it.
Anybody else have anything?
You understand, Emmett? Okay.
All right, anything else from Ms. Shepherd? Ms. Shepherd, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, no public hearings. We do have old business. Ms. Turner, would you like to talk about the committee board updates and then the planning commission? And I'd like to abstain, so Cardi, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, so the last time we talked about the planning commission, you were notified that with Mr. Mike Snyder being elected as the board member, that would open up an available spot on the Planning Commission once he steps into his role as Board of Supervisor. Mr. Graves will also, his term expires at the end of January, I believe, and he is not interested in re-serving on the Planning Commission, so that gives you 2 open positions at the end of January. We advertised for applications for those positions, and we've received some applications back, which are in the packet with their address being redacted. That's what that black redaction is, and we're just here for board direction.
So has the time passed for getting any more applications in? Did we have a deadline on that?
I did put a deadline on, it has passed.
And it has passed, okay. So we have 6 applications in the packet. And I mean, I couldn't agree more with Jim's sentiment regarding Clay's application, but I think the process is we interview. So I think the planning commissioners would take a seat on February 1st, or as of February, whatever that is, the first meeting. But the others expire January 31st. So I suggest that we probably have the interviews in a closed session on January 13th, the first regular meeting in January. We can interview, and then we come out of closed session and make a decision. How's that sound, Judd?
Sounds good.
Mike? Nancy? All right? So I think January 13th is the right date, right? Okay. All right, very well. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, thank you. Going to new business, FY27 budget calendar. Ms. Warren, please.
Good evening again. So on the screen, we have drafted the FY27 budget calendar for the board to consider adopting this evening. In December, tonight would be the night to actually adopt the calendar, the preliminary calendar. On the 15th, which would be next Monday, we would begin the process by sending out budget request instructions to the department heads as well as outside agencies, with a deadline for them to return any outside agency applications and budget requests from departments would come back to us by January 9th. And then from January 12th through the 30th, I would meet internally with those department heads as well as the outside agencies to just make sure everything's put together, everything is received correctly, and talk through anything that we might need to discuss as far as variances to last year, or just really dig into the numbers. And then in February, the goal would be that also the 2nd through the 13th of February, I'd continue to meet. So basically from January 12th through February 13th, for that month, I'd meet internally. And starting on February, just as an FYI, the schools have their FY27 budget public hearing scheduled for February 9. So that's on the calendar. And then they have a goal, I've talked to Ms. Graham, and on February 10th, they could get their draft budget over to us. And February 12th, 19th, and 26th would be the first 3 budget work sessions. And those are Thursday evening meetings, again, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the auditorium. The schools would like to go again at the February 26th date, which is very similar to last year. They went, I think, a day before on February 25th. So they would like to present to the Board of Supervisors on the 26th during work session number 3. We would also talk about FY27 priorities, goals, and strategies, and some debt financing updates at that meeting as well. The schools did indicate that if there is a change needed to their budget, they will have a second budget work session internally on March 18th on their end and get back another draft to us on March 19th. So just FYI on that. And then in the month of March, we would have a work session on March 5th. That would be work session number 4 to talk about revenue projections from the Treasurer and Commissioner of Revenue. And we'd also talk about CIP and CARP capital updates. And then on March 9th, the school, just as a placeholder here on the calendar, the school board does, they're going to send their approved budget to the county. Their work sessions on March 12th and the 19th would be, again, for department and outside agencies, as well as the 19th, the goal would be for the county administrator and myself to actually present the budget scenarios to the Board of Supervisors, as well as the FY27 capital improvement plan, and we can discuss administrative fees that evening. And then we would have a public hearing on March 31st. And that public hearing would be for the 2026 tax rates and administrative fees. So if there's any need to increase taxes, that would be the public hearing, would be March 31st. And then the actual budget is a separate public hearing for the approval of the budget. That would take place on April the 14th. And that would be the night that we would actually present the final budget for adoption. And then on May 26th, the FY27 budget that was adopted at that April 14th meeting, the appropriation would occur at the board level. So last year we had 7 budget workshops. This schedule only has 6. And the reason being, last year we had the reassessment as well as, the debt financing discussions. So there was a lot more going on last year. But in previous years, we've typically had 5 to 6 budget work sessions. And that's what I've put in this. Jonathan and I have both looked at this together. So I'll take some questions on the budget calendar.
Nothing other than, March the 9th, the school will send the approved budget to the county, but you had said earlier that based on any changes, they would send us a revised one on March the 19th.
Yeah, they approve their budget.
That's what she said. I crossed it
year.
off.
Every year we have this.
Yeah.
So March 9th, they actually will be approving their budget, but if
Quote, unquote.
changes need to be made, they will have another work session on the 18th
Okay.
internally.
I forgot, do we need to wait for, so they wouldn't have their next school board meeting until the second Monday of April? But we have to wait for.
Because they'll do an approved on March 9th, and then anything post that will be just administrative and pass on to the allocation from the Board of Supervisors.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
I think we have to create some space too when we approve the tax rate and when we approve the budget. I think there's got to be a 7-day.
Okay.
Right, and that's why
All right,
we've
that's-
got March 31st as one
Right.
public hearing and April 14th as the second, to have that 2-week window between the 2 public hearings, one on the tax rate and one on the actual budget approval.
So last year we had 8 of those 3-hour sessions. Now we got 6. That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody okay with this
Yeah.
budget calendar?
There's been talk the last couple of months about the school board and the Board of Supervisors having a joint meeting early in the year. The school budget process is always contentious, we know that. And possibly a benefit of having that joint meeting would be to let the school system know kind of where we are financially, and for us to know some of their upcoming needs. And I just think that might be a good tradition that we could implement beginning next year, that we would have these joint meetings to better communication. That's what I know. There's been talk from both camps on that. So I don't know how we would want to proceed with that before the budget session, if that's the desire of both of these boards. But I just wanted to bring that up, because I know that's been discussed.
You're talking about next year this time, or are you talking about?
Early
trying to-
2026,
Early, yeah.
before budget
Well,
season.
I mean, on a couple of occasions.
That's one right now. The problem is you're gonna run out of time going into the first of January, because they're working on it, and you need to be meeting like first, second, third week at the latest in January. We've done it for years where it was 2-on-2, and then we've done it with full boards as well. And it's very fruitful. And you've got new people coming on both boards, it would be an even better opportunity to start off on a good note.
So would you recommend later in the year then versus earlier in the year, since their budget cycle works?
If you wanna talk budget, you need to do it in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. And perhaps, we'll get the chair and the vice chair of this board, and the chair and the vice chair of their board, and Anna and Tina Crop, to do sort of not a 30,000-foot level, but something sort of like that. And then, if time permits, we get both boards together. We can talk about it then.
Okay.
Yeah? All right.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Warner.
We didn't mean to get sidetracked with this. Thank you.
Would the board like to approve the budget calendar?
Yeah, move to approve as presented.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Ms. Warren. All right, letter of support requested by Virginia Associations of Area Agencies on Aging and Encompass Community Support. Brian?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This is just a letter of support that has been recommended by the VAAA, for lack of trying to spell that out. They are requesting $10 million from the state government, and they're requesting that we do a letter of endorsement for that.
Only if they shorten their title. Oh, good Lord. Wrong name.
V4A.
You don't see any negative ramifications from this in any way?
Especially with the demographics of our community, can't do anything but help us.
Absolutely. What would y'all like to do with this? Anybody have questions, comments, thoughts, emotion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we have the chairman sign this letter of support for.
Yeah, read it. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have resolution 2025-24, which is recognition as a district tourism region. Tracy, would you like to speak about this?
This is mainly following the grant money to be more specific, and also branding purposes. Right now, Virginia Tourism has us set with Central Virginia, which is Richmond. So whenever they're working on things, it's always about Richmond. So even in their travel guide, we're lumped with them, and we do one picture in their main page for it, but it's Early Mountain. So what we've decided, and even early on with our regional commission, we were called the Virginia Piedmont in our brochure. So it basically resonates more with people locally. And it also happens to coincide with the Go Virginia region, and that's where we're getting the money. So Virginia Tourism just doesn't want to change any of their marketing material, so they needed a resolution for all of us to get together and say that, yes, we really want to do this and be referred to as a Virginia Piedmont.
So all these counties listed in here are on board with this, so we're all going together and doing the same thing.
We're all doing the same thing.
Okay.
Sounds good. It sounds real good. What would y'all like to do with this?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the resolution 2025-24.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Ryan, you have anything to add? All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, discussion. RSA policy and procedure and staff recommendations. Mr. Nichols, you gonna come up and talk to us?
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you'll indulge me to read some opening remarks here just to frame our conversation. I want to walk you through a set of issues that directly affect Madison County's ability to manage growth, protect public health, and plan responsibility for the future of our water and sewer systems. Rapidan Service Authority is responsible for operating our public water and sewer systems. But as development pressures increase, especially along the Route 29 corridor and in the town of Madison, we're finding that critical information, policies, and long-range planning tools either don't exist, are outdated, or are not publicly available. Without clarity on service area, system capacity, or EDU allocation practices, neither the county nor our residents can plan with confidence. Our review shows several systematic gaps. We lack updated hydraulic models, which means we cannot readily determine available capacity. Service area boundaries need to be established to reflect the goals of our comprehensive plan. The wastewater treatment plant will soon require a new outfall location to support future expansion. And the EDU acquisition process is inconsistent, with no reserve policy to protect capacity for economic development, public health, or aging drain fields. These issues are not operational details. They are the backbone of how Madison County will grow. The concern is when these gaps persist, the consequences fall on the county. Missed economic development opportunities, uncertainty for developers, and potential public health risks in areas with aging septic systems. Without clear policies, RSA decisions can inadvertently shape land use and development, something that should remain in the hands of the elected governing body. Staff has attempted for some time to obtain basic information, maps, capacity data, EDU records, policies. We still don't have many of the documents needed to evaluate development proposals or coordinate infrastructure planning. This is why a formal FOIA request was necessary. A public utility must operate transparently. The county cannot make sound decisions while the data and policies guiding those decisions remain unclear or unavailable. To correct this, we recommend the Board of Supervisors formally direct the RSA Board of Directors to take the following actions. Adopt uniform connection standards aligned with engineering best practices in our comprehensive plan. Adopt and publish water and sewer service area boundaries. Initiate new hydraulic models to guide 10, 20, and 30-year planning. Identify a feasible wastewater treatment outfall location that avoids costly or inappropriate private negotiations. Establish a transparent EDU acquisition process and capacity reserve policy, ensuring that EDUs support planned growth, redevelopment, public health needs, and economic development for both the county and the town. These are not just administrative improvements. They are essential steps to protect system capacity, enhance transparency, and ensure that infrastructure planning remains coordinated, predictable, and grounded in the public interest. So, thank you for indulging my written statements. The county administrator and I have prepared a report that's in your staff packet outlining some of these issues and goals. I think at the end of the day, with RSA's new planned expansion, we want to be in a position where we can plan where the capacity goes rather than wondering where it went.
Thank you. Very well put together. How would we like to start this? Brian, you have comments on this?
No, Alan has spearheaded this thing from the word go on this.
All right. Who has comments on it? Who has comments on this at this point? Go ahead, please.
Well, there's two things here. First of all, how would we proceed? I support this. How would we proceed with this as far as administratively to get this into the approval pipeline? That would be the first thing. But this is, now I'm going to address the second part, which is critical, because this thing's going to blow up in our face if we don't get a handle on it. We've been dealing with this issue for quite some time, and it goes back many, many years with the sewer plant and where the taps are, who has them, whatnot. I was doing a very rough estimate of the tap requirements from the new plant, from the plant expansion, which I believe will give us, what, about 350 additional taps, somewhere in there?
Part of the issue is that depending on who you speak to, you'll have 350 as Mr. Clemens provided me in writing. Mr. Elliott will come up and say 500. From the town, they've heard over 600. Who knows?
Okay, well, we need to nail that down, obviously, first. But I was looking at what has been zoned and approved already. And I started with the R3 zoning that was approved when I first came on the board 4 years ago for the apartments. And of all 4 years that I've been on this board, that's the only vote that I regret, because I voted for it and I should not have. Would have passed anyway. But the point is that I counted up all those apartments. I counted up the 50 or so houses that could be built on the left-hand side of Fishback Road as you're approaching Madison. I also looked at the proposals from a local developer who's also proposing changes to the R3 zoning text, which I adamantly oppose. And just from rough estimates, if everything went according to what the wishes are of some of the folks in the development community, we could easily eat up 335 to 350 new EDUs. And if we only end up with whatever, if we only ended up with that, what we have essentially done is we have set the county back 50 years in economic development, because we won't have the EDUs available to help redevelop the town of Madison or to develop any additional businesses on the 29 corridor, which we have designated as our development area. What worries me about this, and I mentioned this in a previous meeting a month or so ago when we started talking about the R3 amendment. If all of these developments were to transpire or be completed, we could easily see a 10% increase in the county's population within a couple years period. Now, that's going to necessitate, as we know, more public services, schools, EMS, law enforcement, might even push us over the threshold of having to have paid firefighters. And we are in no position to do that financially. We're struggling now. What I see here is the responsibility of the county is to get a handle on this so that we do have reasonable development. But the way I see things going right now, all of our public money, our public infrastructure is going to accrue to the benefit of a handful of housing developers. And the spillover costs of new public services to service the increased population is going to spill over into the general public of Madison County in perpetuity, meaning our taxpayers and our tax rates on property tax. So that's my concern, that we don't fall over that cliff. Now, having said that, I'm not against housing development, but it has to be in a balanced approach with our economic development and all the other strategic planning that we've done and will do. So that's my position, Mr. Chairman. I did want to mention that. I know I've actually had some conversations with Mr. Elliott, which were very enlightening, and with his experience and his position on the board. And there are some other areas that we need to look at. The resettlement area is definitely going to be something that has to be addressed in the future. Now, that does that necessarily mean that has to be an RSA infrastructure? I don't know. I think that needs to be evaluated, because if those private systems can be redeveloped on those properties, and I don't know the answer to that, but if they could, there is public money available to do that. One of the concerns about running RSA sewage service to that area is that, one, the tap cost, which I'm sure that the residents there would not be able to fund. We'd probably have to get grants, but then the ongoing cost of the actual services. So that's an area I think we need to start looking at right now for next year, and that might be something economic development can handle. But I'm just saying is that I see a train wreck coming on our current course, and we need to get with RSA, and we need to get this policy in place that protects the county, character of the county, and the citizens of Madison County, the taxpayers of Madison County. I'm all for this service district. I think that's an integral part of this plan. So that's my comments, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Cardy?
Yeah, couple of things. I just need to be clear on this, Alan, as right out of the chute on our report, it says that the staff recommends that the Board of Supervisors provide formal direction. I don't think I read through everything. I don't know exactly what that means because, number one, water and sewer connection standards and approval process. Well, I have an idea of what I think the approval process ought to be, but I have no idea what a sewer connection standard is or a hydraulic profile. You see what so as I go through and pick and choose the things that we'd like to see get implemented, at least half of which I have no way of knowing. So is the idea that perhaps the county would hire an engineer to help us with that stuff to present to RSA, or you see what I'm saying?
I think ultimately, what we'd like to see
Yeah.
is a little more cooperation from RSA in collaborating on these things, because, you know, for planning efforts, if we can get on the same page, then it doesn't have to be an ego measuring contest to, you know, who has authority over what. We all want to act for the benefit of our community at large. And so, at the end of the day, whatever discretion the board has to exert influence over RSA to meet the county's goals for economic development and, you know, general responsibility, we'd like to approach that any way that we can.
What about, and I'm gonna be eclipsed by this, but it would seem like the best direction at this junction would be to get Mr. Nichols, Brian, Jonathan, some board members with either two or the whole group, and you gotta advertise, of course, and meet with RSA staff. I mean, all of them have come to see, or not staff, but all our representations from Madison, the chairman, Mr. Johnson from Orange, and chair of RSA is here, Tim, the operator. Just need to sit down and have a meeting, kind of go down through this list and hit what documents they have, what documents they do not have. Everybody, I think, is in favor of having a policy on these EDU, and there's a disbursement of EDUs, especially with availability and demand for that availability at by right properties currently. But it seems like everybody just needs to sit down and kind of accomplish something and see if we can kind of start knocking things off the list. Does that sound like a reasonable plan? You'll probably can get something going sooner than later, hopefully.
That would hopefully, Betsy.
Yes, please. Yes, Sean Gregg.
Any opportunity I have to increase Mr. Wright's.
Hang on a second, Sean.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Sorry about that. Another way to do this may be, and I'm just trying to picture getting everybody together for a meeting. If everyone could collate their concerns, give them either to Mr. Wright or to me, and we communicate directly with Mr. Kalos. Some of you may remember when Greene County was leaving, perfectly easy to work with. He was representing Orange County at the time. But it could be that there are already solutions to things that we currently think might be problems. And the idea would be that if you do it lawyer to lawyer, so to speak, if nothing else, you don't have to advertise a public meeting. See how much progress we can make that way, and then if there are details that need to be worked out because there are policy issues, you know, it might save a couple of meetings and a couple of advertisements, for what it's worth.
I would think, yeah, we know about the FOIA request at this point, and it's been, I'm guessing, it's been satisfied at this junction?
No, sir.
How much
Let's say,
more?
and respectfully to Mr. Gray's concerns, I think that the more of this conversation takes place in public, the better to facilitate public trust of all the bodies involved. But no, I received a response from FOIA at the 5-day mark, so they asked for another 7 days to respond, which by statute they have. But I have not received any documents related to the FOIA request as of this time.
All right. Gentlemen, y'all receptive to doing a meeting with these fine folks? Kind of going down, walking through some of this list, and then maybe identifying any kind of documents and any issues that we can point towards Mr. Gregg and Mr. Kalos, and maybe there's some clarity that can be held there. Does that work, or? I tend to agree, and I very rarely argue with lawyers, but I think start. Yeah, I know. I just say derogatory things about you. But it's more get everybody on the same page, and then go through the documents, and then I would think that it would be advantageous to go down some of this path as Mr. Gregg has laid out, and that may just make it quick. You all have things to say on this, a response, anything you'd like to add? Mr. Johnson, anybody? We'll bring you a microphone. You don't even have to get up. Alan,
There it comes.
Alan, it's coming. And
Yes. Can you hear me now? Not yet.
Okay, there we go.
yeah,
Certainly, we stand ready to as speaking for the RSA board, we stand ready to meet with Madison County. We want to make it work. This all kind of came, so far as my knowledge of it, I first learned about it about a week ago, and I knew you all were going to be doing this tonight, so that's why I'm here. The last thing, with all due respect to Mr. Gregg, I think the last thing we want to do is get this, into kind of a legal thing, because I don't think it's there. I think we just need to sit down and talk to each other and work it out. I certainly stand ready. I've already made clear to Mr. Clemens that we need to try to work this out. So, RSA is Madison County and Orange County, and it's there to serve the interest of both counties. Is what it's there for. It's like RSA doesn't have an agenda of its own. It has some responsibilities that it has to meet, obviously, but it's not. It doesn't have an agenda on its own. So, speaking for myself as chairman of the board, I think we could sit down and work this out.
So, Mr. Johnson, I'd like to ask you and Pete, Tim, Troy, overall, the issues that Alan has raised here are issues that this county really does need to address going forward. Wouldn't you all agree to that?
Yeah, RSA would. From
Yeah.
us, we've been working towards that for a number of years. There is some confusion, I think, so I'd like to clear it up. We do not sell EDUs until the county has approved a project. So that is what our policy says. When someone comes to us with a project that Madison County has approved, then we're in a position to move forward. Other than that, we're not selling them. So you do control that by virtue of what you approve or don't approve. I know that, listening to Mr. Jewett, there's certain developers that are pushing, have been pushing. But again, that rests with you as the Board of Supervisors. If you approve it, then we certainly would serve it if we have that capability. We have been working for a number of years now on this sewer plant project, 5 years, I think. We're going to move forward with it. We do have grant funding for part of it, but we need to sell EDUs also for part of it. So that's otherwise, the 200 sewer customers in Madison County are going to bear the brunt of that. It doesn't really seem fair to them for existing customers to be having to pay for support growth. Growth should pay for growth. So that's the concept we work from. But we do not sell EDUs, we do not pre-sell. There were some things done 20 years ago or more, but that is not the way we operate today. So we do not approve any connections until you as the Board of Supervisors have provided approval to a project.
Troy, Pete, anything? Yeah.
What you got, Pete?
Well, it's been a lot of information put out there, and a lot of it's not what the facts are. And I think it's a great idea to get together and put the facts in line, because once it starts to blow out of proportion, it's blown out of proportion. And, we've heard stories about tapping the outfall line. You can't tap the outfall line. That's strictly for clear water that's been treated. You know, someone said, don't put it on private property, they're gonna tap that. They can't tap that. That's just for water going to the river. It's not for tap. If you tap that DDQ, shut everything down. So I think it's a good idea to get together and let RSA tell us what's going on, Tim and them, and then we go from there.
Seems like a very reasonable direction to go. Have a meeting, then you can accuse each other of face-to-face, which is much more pleasant. And you can get some actual, it can be a constructive meeting, and then you can go down the path and start whittling it down. It's certainly something I think everybody understands needs to get taken care of. Timeliness is, it's gonna creep up on us by the 2027 completion date of this thing. Things need to be in place prior to that, so.
So I'd just like to say that since Jonathan's not here, and this did come from y'all's office in there, then I would ask that you guys would coordinate something between, you know, two of us from this board. Obviously, we only got two from that board. I don't guess, Mr. Johnson, would you rather have Pete and Troy in with Tim, or would you like to, you're the chair, or?
We'll work that out, whatever.
All right, so
I'll go with how they work.
obviously we can't do more than two because it would constitute a meeting.
Would the pleasure be to have it before first of the year or wait till after the holidays?
Huh?
Just sooner
You
rather
think?
than later.
Huh?
Sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, this is only the 9th. We got time. Troy, you don't have anything else to do, do you? All right.
Work with Brian. Let's see if we can get a time set and have a meeting on
I'll
this.
send out a survey tomorrow.
Excellent.
Try in the next couple of weeks,
Yeah.
say.
See what we can get to.
You want one? Okay. Yeah, I'll go.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Gentlemen, thank you all. All right, December, anybody else have anything on that one? December 23rd meeting, 2025. We need to decide whether or not we need to have it. Brian, please.
Yes, sir. We have two things that are on the on the docket right now. We have a change order for Hoover Ridge that I've just gotten today. I'm not educated enough to speak on it right now. I got to dig into it to see what it means, if there's funding available, so on and so forth. The other thing is we do have a quote in play to replace the maintenance barn out at Hoover Ridge as well. We've got a quote on that. I've got some few things to iron out on that. I'm not prepared to speak on that tonight either. Those are the two things that we could look at for the 23rd. We've already decided to take the applications for the planning commission interviews on the 13th of January. It's a pleasure of the board. If we want to do it on the 23rd, I'll be here. We'll all be here. If we want to push that to the agenda meeting on the 2nd, we can do that as well, or the 13th.
The 7th to the 13th, that's 20 more days. That's almost 3
Yeah, I would.
weeks.
I would recommend not
just-
going out to the 13th, just because our current contractor on there is nearing the end of that project. If we're going to use him as a change order, we need to do that before it demobilizes.
Well, I can't imagine having any more fun than being with you guys on Christmas Eve. How about you, Dustin? I'm okay with the 23rd.
Everybody in town on the 23rd? Let's do a
Okay.
meeting on the
Okay.
23rd.
Business as usual.
All right. All right, back to information correspondence organizational meeting, Mr. Gordon.
Yes, sir. Per your bylaws, you'll have an organizational meeting on the first business day after the first of the year, which this year is on the 2nd of January. To this point, the governor has not awarded that as a holiday. He has in the past. I would tend to think if he was going to do that, he would have done it by now. So per your bylaws, your organizational meeting will be that morning at 9 a.m.
Everybody got it? There you go. All right. Anything else? Anybody else have any information or discussion items, correspondence? All right, back to public comment. Back to public comment. Any public comment? We got 2 watching us, so that's pretty strong tonight. Anybody commenting? All right. No closed session this evening. What would you like to do?
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you all.
The organizational meeting, January 2nd, January 9 a.m. Yep. Kind of need you to be there, Mr. Parliamentarian.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll bet. Mr. Gregg, I'd like to have you there as well.
What's that?
I'd like to have you there for the organizational meeting as well.
I never made one before.
Fair
I
enough.
kept forgetting about it.
Fair